Son came home from school.
Live from Thursday night. Welcome Planning Board.
All right, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance anyway.
Everybody in the audience, please rise.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Marin, I turned it on, but
You know, we can take all this milk and cookies in the
is
back.
there a
And
code?
It's on the side.
Oh,
there's prime rib over there. We have salads over there. There's desserts over there for all the people at in the meeting. Anyway, board business. Do we have stuff to sign?
Yes, there's bills and payroll.
Okay. All right, so we have the joint meeting with the selectmen is 28th. Any idea what time? Are we early or?
I think,
7:30, I think.
So,
yeah,
okay.
I think we're fairly early.
We are before the discussion regarding sewer. So,
Okay, get us out of there. Okay, there you go.
same thing I
I
did.
don't really have much that you really need to, I don't think.
Well, I typed it in 3 times, it don't go, that's all it gets.
Is it not coming up?
Is there really anything he needs to? No, I don't think you have much.
I could share mine, but then you'd be sick for about a week.
No, yeah, I can't hold my breath that long. And a second-hand stone.
Mr. McIver, are you here for Tehadawon?
Yes,
They're continued, they're not gonna come they're not coming.
but Paul Clavey.
Yeah, Paul Glaby's continued till next month,
Oh, very nice.
so,
Do you know what date or what time?
we're meeting the
February 7th.
7th.
Oh, good, okay, very good.
But we are talking about extending it, not really, just to give them the zoning protection, so
Sure.
that's what
Give
they're
them time to
working
work with you guys.
on. We're working
Yeah,
out with you.
it's a difficult situation to figure out.
But we don't wanna rush through it.
Yeah, a site walk would be helpful, though they're not too enthusiastic about that.
But yeah, they've continued till then.
Great, thanks so much.
And,
Thank you for coming.
yeah, thank you. Are you here for anything in particular? We'll tell you.
I just haven't been here for a while, so I decided to come.
You picked a night, a pretty light night, you know?
I know.
All
Well, I'm
right.
interested in cricket rating, but then that's last hearing.
I don't think that's gonna start tonight either.
Up to you either, huh?
Probably not. There's only 4 of us, so it's up to the proponent, but,
Well,
eh,
hey, I changed my plans so I could be there, I'm not leaving now.
all right. Good night. I know it's must-see TV for you, but, you know, we'll try to get you out as quick as we can. But yeah, it's kinda light. Yeah, this way or that way.
Yep. Nobody else has to touch these, right?
Is there an
Just
update
Marin.
on natural resources or from the peer review? Or anything on that?
On which one?
97 mil, I know we're not open or discussing, I'm just curious if the peer review's been completed.
No, it hasn't. We've been going back and forth because they have some floodplain work that they want to do, but they want to work with FEMA first on what the elevation is. So I didn't want to spend their money on
Sure.
peer review for,
Till they have elevation.
well, according to the town bylaw, is based on FEMA's elevations, and that they think that FEMA's, so they're working with FEMA because they think those elevations are not correct. So if they go through that
Don't
process
sit down,
first, then
you're
they'll be able to.
first up.
All right.
Yep.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
God, your coffee smells awful.
You don't need candy. Peter likes the candy.
I need one just to get a taste of this awful coffee out of my mouth.
Godiva. This is regifting, isn't it?
The Godiva. I cannot tell you that. You want to hear the ultimate of regifting? I gave my daughter's new in-laws one of the Harry and David baskets, and they bought the same one for me. So when theirs arrived, they thought that she put the wrong shipping label on it, and she sent it back. Okay,
6:45, you
gonna
gotta
wait.
do we open and close the preliminary?
A preliminary is just a discussion, but we did get a written request from the applicant to continue the discussion till the next meeting. They hadn't had a chance to, they hadn't had a chance to meet with Conservation Trust and Conservation Commission and Trails Coalition yet, and they wanted to take the time to do that, since those were the questions, some of the questions that came out of the meeting last time.
Okay. So 195 Tadawon Road is continued to February 7th,
Yep,
time to be determined.
right.
So next up at 6:45 is Cooper Farm Estates. 21, 9, and 10 setback relief requested.
We didn't publish a public hearing for this. The request is to see if we can do this, if you can do this in, as a field change or red line change, rather than go through the hearing process, but that decision's up to you guys.
This is 4 more front.
2 more.
It's 9, 10, 20, and 22.
No.
Lot 9,
21, 9, and 10.
yeah, 21, which is number 9 Field Lane,
Oh.
and Lot 9 and 10, which is 20 and 22 Cooper Farm Lane. Sorry.
One's a side setback request.
And the other 2 are
Overhang
fronts.
is into the setback.
Right.
And then front setback request. So we granted the front setback request already on
All the other lots.
all
Oh,
the
the
other
other
lots.
lots, not those, yeah.
These two were just left out of the request. Clerical error on,
Well, I wouldn't say it was clerical, but should have, and it's an omission.
So how long ago was that?
what?
How long ago was that? I mean, that must have been,
You were here.
You were here, it was
Was.
a meeting or 2 meetings ago?
it was? Okay.
Remember the Fields came in and said that they needed the front setback because they couldn't push it back into the,
Was that with Jennifer?
I don't know if they brought her in for it.
Yeah, she was here.
Okay,
She
all
was
right.
here.
They couldn't go into the wetlands, so they had to go forward, and we had a
Okay.
discussion about they're so close that a car will almost stick out in the driveway, but
They put turnarounds in those driveways.
we ended up giving it to them anyway.
Actually, on this decision in May of 18, it says Richard Crowley was on. Is that possible?
For May of 18.
May of 18?
Yeah, it
he
was still
that was his
Richard.
last.
That was his last meeting.
Yeah.
And maybe you weren't here.
No, the setback relief was granted literally 2
Yeah,
meetings
it
ago.
was, yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
May.
No, it was a while ago.
No way.
Oh, it
Yeah,
couldn't have
right.
been.
Well, I remember
Yeah.
Jen coming in for something, but, so that's why I was
Am I
asking.
losing time that quickly?
The older you get, pal, faster it goes.
It wasn't that long ago.
Well, if someone could jog my memory, that'd be great.
I will.
Thank you.
So are we waiting to 6:45, or are we doing it?
It's a really,
thought we
it's
had
not, it's
to.
not a public hearing. so-
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do it. What the heck. All right. Cooper Farms setback requests.
Okay, I'm here to request, Cheryl Gold, I'm here for, it's actually GS Holdings and Doug Shaw. GS Holdings is the owner of 3 lots, 20 and 20, sorry,
22.
lots 9 and 10 on the open space subdivision plan, which are lots numbered 20 and 22 Cooper Farm Lane. It's confusing because they cross the lot numbers with the street numbers. But as we just discussed, in May of 2018, the owner, Cooper Farm Estates, and the owner of all the other lots came back before this board and asked for a certificate to modify the open space development special permit to change the front setback from 25 to, I believe they went to 20 feet.
I think they went to 15.
You went to 15. And they did that because there was some wetlands in the rear and the way that it laid out and the size of the houses and everything, they couldn't meet the 25. And as we just spoke about, they had already sold the lots to GS Holdings, and so when Jennifer Platt, their attorney, came in and made this request, I think she just enumerated all the lots that the field still owned without thinking about the GS Holdings lots. When GS Holdings built, they built it at 25, and they thought it was 25, but found that it was a little bit tight, and Matt and Michael said to him, don't worry, because we got it modified to 15, without ever thinking that his 2 lots were left off. So I'm here before you because this one house that they did build measured 25 feet from the front setback, and when Roland went to certify it for occupancy, he couldn't because when you add the overhang and the siding, you're a little more than 25. So we're only requesting a modification to 20 feet, which would be consistent with what you already granted on all of the other lots, which is 15 feet. But we only have to get to 20 feet in order to legitimate this lot. Roland was kind enough to give us a temporary occupancy so that the buyers who were planning to move in for Christmas could move in for Christmas, but we promised to get this cleaned up within a month.
So in that request, I would say to be consistent, because if any other improvements ever occur on the site, that we should go to the 15 as all the other lots have it, although you're requesting less of them.
We're happy to take the 15,
To be
and I
consistent, I think we
don't
should do it.
disagree. And his next lot is being built, the one right beside it, and I included that in just in case too, so it'll be consistent across the board.
Yeah, that way they're all
I
consistent.
thought they were both already built out.
Well, he's in construction on one, he hasn't sold it yet, so I don't have the final as-built measurement.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Is
there's
it-
a third lot tonight before you that is built out and sold, and that's a different matter. So
Yeah.
on these 2 here, 9 and 10, which is 20 and 22 Cooper, we're asking for the consistent change to the front setback. Your decision in May said you approved it as 2 lots, 8 and 11 through 25, so he jumped right over 9 and 10. So all the other lots got the approval
But
already.
the other ones that were, this has nothing to do with the fields, correct? It's total separate owners, the
Total
fields are out of
separate
the
owners.
project, so I can have this discussion?
Yep.
Yeah.
Though he's got one already built, the ones that they asked to have moved forward is because they were gonna be in violation of the wetlands behind it. These ones in particular do not have that issue, correct? They don't have the wetlands issue?
As far as I know, there's no wetlands orders or issues on this one. But because the entire project was switched to 15, they worked under the assumption that they weren't holding to the 25-foot line.
Is the second one is close to 25, is that,
I think the second one is going to be fine. But again, I just did them all.
what's the
'cause I don't-
backyard look like?
I don't want to be back here.
Does it drop off? Anyone know the
Well, here's the first one. This is
topography of it?
They do have wetlands behind, I stand corrected, and I don't know how far away they are from the wetlands. This is the 20, that's number 20. This, I believe, is 22. So there are wetlands behind, I just don't know how far away they are from the wetlands. Looks like it's a big distance, but it seems to me that it would make sense for all the houses to be consistently set back anyway.
I do too, because if somebody wants to do a farmer's porch or an improvement down the road, then, 2 lots shouldn't be penalized
Yep.
over the others, so.
I'm not thrilled about doing it, but we did it.
Everybody gets a trophy?
We did it for the first ones, we kind of have to do it for the second batch, but. So I'll entertain a motion to approve those 2 lots, just like we did for the ones that came before us on May 18th of last year.
And you'd like the setback to be 20 feet?
15,
They
to be
wanted it
consistent.
15.
Okay, the condition you put on the 15 feet was that if you have it, you had a turnout, so the vehicles could
Didn't-
park on the side and not stick out into the sidewalk.
Okay.
Where they're requesting 15 feet, you wouldn't have to put that turnout in. But
To leave it at 20 feet then?
I just say leave it at 20, to be honest with you, because again, aside from a pickup truck that's a dual, you know, a full
Peter
box
Scott.
and double thing, yeah, well, it's 23, and that 23 feet, two for that 23 cost me $500 today. Hit a goddamn post.
We're fine at 20.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
what we
Okay,
asked
well,
for.
then we'll leave them at 20.
I think
That's
that'd be
what we asked
fair.
for. Thank you, though.
Anybody on the board have any concerns or questions?
So moved.
Second? All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now the other one is
The
the,
other request is a little bit more tongue-in-cheek here, I'm sorry. But this one he built out, it's 9 Field Lane, and I believe the confusion is it's lot 21, so don't not to be confused, but this is 9 Field Lane. And what happened was, I don't know why, the way the engineer turned and sighted the house, he ended up with that one corner at, I think it says 10.2 there. That just
Yeah.
one corner, it's not the whole side. And the side setback is supposed to be 10 feet. And once again, because of the overhang and the roof overhang and the siding thickness, he's probably at 10.4 or 10.5. So we're asking for just a modification to that one corner to 9 feet. The house is built, we're not
Where,
doing any
the
more.
same house?
No, this is a
No.
different lot and a different house.
Show Peter that plot plan.
Well, it's currently sitting there all by itself, right?
Well, Where's 9?
Where
on
is it
this
the
Field
big
Lane,
plan?
'cause these numbers-
We marked it, let me just see if I can find it without my glasses.
Peter?
Hmm?
The yellow.
Oh, it's number 20 on on this?
I think it's 21, Peter.
Oh, my good bean.
I have a question on that one. Because there isn't anything else around it right now, wouldn't it make sense to just, to take that foot from the other property, or does that mess things up?
That was one of the things we contemplated, but the problem, and it's a practical problem, it's really not your problem. The person beside already bought his lot and financed it. In order to do a bow tie swap or the foot that you need, you would have to get the bank to release a partial release of that piece. And getting, especially the internet lenders and the big banks in the Midwest, to even understand the problem is a task that's beyond anyone's ability to pay for. If it was a, local bank, or if it wasn't financed yet, we'd do that in a minute. But you not only have to get the cooperation of the neighbor, you have to find the lender, and whoever is servicing that loan could be, a group of investors that you can't reach.
So in other words, the foundation was put in the wrong place, is what you're really telling us,
Yeah,
right?
and, one of the problems with that is,
So someone didn't hire an engineer to stake the lot?
or the foundation plan, the foundation permit was submitted and nobody had time to approve it before the building started. I don't know. I am told by my client that the foundation permit was submitted, and I'm being told by the building department that they didn't see the foundation permit and the as-built until the end. So I don't know. I'm not going to take any sides on this, but I'm going to tell you it's a practical problem.
Who owns this property?
This one is, well, it was GS Holdings. Roland again was kind enough to let us get the buyer in there for Christmas on the
So
assumption
this
that
house
we
is
would
done,
fix
built,
this.
they're living in it?
Yes,
And then
And
look at
because
it go from
who's
10
GS Holdings?
that's Doug Shaw.
So Doug didn't want to hire an engineer, is what you're saying? To stake the property
No, he had an
beforehand?
engineer stake it, and they
So
missed
who's the
that one.
engineer that staked the foundation and put it?
I'm sure, it's probably Marky and Ruben, that's who he uses.
How do you feel about this?
me? The foundation side, it's the overhang, they didn't take into account
The
the,
foundation's within,
yeah, within the setback.
No,
they have,
it's-
and
it's
see how much
10
room they
feet
have
too.
on the other
It's
side?
20 inches out, right.
Huh? How much more room they have on the other side, 27 feet?
31 feet on that side, 20 feet 6 on the rear.
On the side lot is what we're after, right? Supposed to be, what, 15 feet off? or-
10,
10.
They're at 10 too, so the foundation meets it.
Right.
It's the overhang that doesn't.
Right. And how far to that way there could they have gone?
Well, it looks like the back corner for this setback was 10 feet all the way around. They could have gone 10 feet.
Could have spun it.
Yeah, if they
that
just
way
spun it, it would have been all right. But they didn't.
So is it a real, we just gave,
I'm not gonna whine about 2 inches, but I just, the fact that I mean, there's other people that had to cut their
Overhangs.
overhangs off on their house because of the overhang. I know in my case, I had to ask for a little, made the foundation as X size and asked for a bigger thing. I understand that, but that was before you did anything. And you have to spend the money on the engineers to make sure it's right. Because if it's wrong, then the engineer has to pay to move the house, correct?
you wanna find them?
We can't.
Let me tell you, I billed him plenty to pay. I billed him plenty for the mistake.
You did, well, what does the town get out of it?
You got candy.
You get to, Candy, you get to see me.
I've been adding these up, she's getting close to the $50 a year and a buck a whack.
That's a re-gift. I didn't pay anything for that one.
No, it's a gift, I'm afraid to touch it. You guys hungry? You like candy? Huh? It's a buck a piece.
I'll make entertain a motion to.
Raise the money for CPHA.
I'll make a
funds.
motion to approve the request from 10 feet to 9 feet on lot 21, number Field Lane, side setback.
You sure, well, I don't want to give them, 9 feet 2 or 10 feet 3. Is that enough? Because with the overhang, all they need is 1 foot?
9 feet is enough, thank you.
Yeah,
I'll second Mr. Mullins' motion.
okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Even if it's a horse eye.
Thank you very much.
Maybe if they went down and did something for the elderly, bought the elderly lunch one day, it would be nice.
I will make that suggestion. I think that's a very good suggestion.
It's a good idea, yeah. Make 'em-
Now that you voted.
A week for a year.
Anyway, all
I
right.
love that Badger Funeral Home provides elderly breakfast every Tuesday.
You plug them, we plant them.
Thank you very much.
So 655 has been continued, Mill Road,
well, should open and continue.
open and continue, yeah, to February 7th, the time to be determined? Okay.
Yeah. That's the one I was trying to explain before and wasn't doing a very good job. They're working with FEMA on the floodplain, exactly what the floodplain elevation is. They're doing a more detailed study. And once that gets set, then they'll be ready to come back to you and go through peer review. It didn't make sense to peer reviews at elevation that they don't feel is correct. That the applicant doesn't feel is correct.
Do they have an idea when they're going to hear back from FEMA or work that number out?
I haven't had that conversation with them yet.
Where on that property would they have a floodplain issue?
Most of the property is within the floodplain.
That's all up
Be
on the hill,
careful not to
right?
cough on it.
No,
Excuse me, I got the wrong, I was thinking the open space on Foster Street.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking-
Parley lumber.
You're talking
Yeah,
about Parley, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I had a blind moment. Peter's gone. Is that all it takes to get rid of him? All right,
So, motion to continue the public hearing for 97 Mill Street, Mill
Yep.
Road,
yep,
to February 7th, time to be determined.
yep. Your Workers' Credit Union over there, right? That's, you the AT&T guys? All right, all right. We got you. Just wanna make sure we're all lined up. Because we're trying to be efficient tonight, we wanna get out of here before it snows.
Actually, we had a big stack of minutes, too.
Okay.
Give a whole my breath for 3 minutes.
Swimming? Swimming,
Yeah.
or just with your mom?
Underwater.
His mom used to hold him underwater.
You play King of the Raft and get knocked off a few times, you better learn how to hold your breath.
We're just waiting for 7:15. We have a
So unless you're ready to do some of the minutes.
Yeah. Anybody have any problems with the minutes?
Anna had some suggested corrections on several of them.
Anna had questions?
Had suggested corrections on several of them.
The minutes?
Are they significant, or are we just going to accept them as is?
Well,
Well,
let's discuss them and we'll find out.
there you go.
What are your issues with the minutes, Anna?
So September 20th, I had no comment, no changes. September 13th, I thought that there were a couple of them that would, it would be helpful to add in things that, that had been said during the meeting, just for clarification. For example, on September 13th, talking about affordable housing in town. Mark, specifically, you were describing your role on the new Affordable Housing Trust, saying that the town is looking at that, and you said, and that includes looking at town land as an asset for senior affordable housing for rent. I think that's important, simply so that folks know specifically what the trust is working on.
Okay.
Okay, second one is the building, where do I find it? Oh, 151 Taylor Street, when they were talking about moving the septic system, which is, the septic system is being moved to the front area of the building away from the wetlands, and that the new system would be smaller, reducing capacity from 7,500 gallons to 3,000 a day. So I think that that's also relevant because that's a change to the site, and where they're going to be moving it, I thought would be relevant to just document. Because if we don't document in our meeting minutes, then you know, where is it to be found?
Yeah, and that one in particular would be shown on the plans,
Okay.
so, yeah.
And then the third change in those meeting minutes would be when we were talking about King Street, and that there's a statement in the minutes that says the school would like tennis courts in exchange for easement rights. This really wasn't stated. Jennifer made a comment about it, and Michael was in preliminary discussions at the time with the coach, so this really wasn't something that was said, so I think that we don't want to misrepresent what the school was saying.
Okay.
And Maren has those, so.
Yep, I'm happy to make those corrections.
So is that everything?
Sorry?
That, all of it?
For September 13th, yes.
So with September 13th and 20th, make a motion to approve the minutes for those two meetings.
Thank you.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the next set was October 4th, and there was an incorrect date on the top.
Yeah, so the meeting notes originally said October 20th, which really confused me, and then realized, oh, we didn't have a meeting on October 20th. There were two items on that set of notes. Item number 7, the third sentence reads, "There is a street light at the entrance." There is no street light at the entrance of the Jones Meadow development.
Right, a light on the street pole would be a better way to put that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure. And then also related to Jones Meadow, the last paragraph indicated that I seconded the motion to move forward on the preliminary, and it was actually Jamie who made the motion, not me.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for October 4th, 2018.
Anyone else have any issues? Having heard none, I'll, so moved. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any more? Is that it?
November 1st?
There were November 1st minutes and December 17 minutes. There's
December 6th and 7th?
the 6th were not.
No minutes.
I have the draft to review.
What's everybody here for?
December 7th is, 17th is. That was the A&R,
A&R.
the corrected A, the one,
The 1-minute meeting.
yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So December 6th, we're not going to vote on.
Correct.
November 1st, we're not going to vote on unless,
They're available. I don't know if you have comments or not.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for December 17th, which was just the one item for the A&R.
Right. So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
And for November 1st, you want more time on those? Is that the idea?
So the minutes on October 4th, is that when we just had this discussion?
We just approved.
We approved it where it said you changed it, so the straw poll was 3-2 on the common, correct? Meaning myself and Jamie were the two who were opposed to the Littleton Common Sewer? Is that what this,
I don't know.
That's in the minutes, that wasn't a correction to be made. But that is in the minutes.
it is in the minutes, the straw poll with those who said yea and those who said nay.
Correct.
Well,
So you're asking about the October?
one of the things about the minutes is you can always go back to the video. So you can always.
I think November 1st, I'm just still confused about
So-
item number 1.
So we'll hold off on November 1st and December 6th until all members are comfortable with the minutes. So if you want to suggest corrections at a later time, Anna, I think we'll be okay with that. And we're at 7:05.
This is the one you're,
Is anyone here for
this
Mill
is the one you
Pond?
have issue with, Anna?
97 Mill Pond, is anyone here for
Well, I
that?
just wanted to make sure that you had seen it.
Mill Road.
No road? No road, no? Okay,
Try not to waste your time, that's
it's
all.
being continued, that's all.
Russell Street.
Okay.
So we get 12 more minutes before that one starts, and nothing to do in the meantime.
Okay.
Except drink bad coffee.
Ugh, it's horrible.
Did the board convene already? You guys just waiting?
But where you have a public meeting at, public.
7:15 is our next public
We're
hearing.
playing a game, who would speak first, you did, you lose, you're buying us all at Kimball's when they open again.
I don't know if you got this letter from Jonathan Matthews about the GPAC. I was just here to reinforce that and go through for Jones Meadow.
Yep, Jones Meadows at 8:15. So,
Okay.
yeah, and they do have a copy of it now.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Your turn.
Well, it may be a moot point because we may be opening and continuing it.
Okay.
But-
Well,
We don't know yet.
Right, the good news is I can add that to the comments list and get those posted, midweek next week.
Can I see that letter? Is it,
Here, you want a copy? You have it, but I'll give it to you. If you mind.
oh, I knew that. Where's that?
It's probably the second one now.
Bicycle and pedestrian?
Yep.
What else?
I drove down Newtown Road, driving up and heading towards, what's it turn into? No, not Newtown, what Goldsmith turns into Newtown.
Yeah.
And Goldsmith has sidewalks on it, right? And there's a woman walking 5 feet out in the road, not even on the sidewalk. It's like, walking into traffic, which you're supposed to do. You don't walk with traffic, you walk into it. But there it is, out in the middle, there she was, out in the middle of the street.
Sidewalks in the common, right? So I'm going to the Shell station to go get a cup of coffee. And there's this white truck there, back out into the road. He's stopped getting, got a big, huge box truck. And I'm paying attention to the box truck, but I'm not really paying attention. There's this little kid on a bicycle with this big, huge helmet, comes like zipping right in front, right across me. Luckily, I saw him at the last, never saw him coming past that truck. But he was riding his little bike going to work and then going to school. But at least he had this huge helmet on. It looked like a motorcycle helmet. Riding right through the common. Choom.
Probably one of my kids.
No, he's coming from the common though.
My kids ride down there all the time.
At 7:30 in the morning. No, he's not. This kid was going to school.
No.
Zipping
No,
right down.
my two younger sons decided to ride the subway through the rail trail into Acton the other day when it was pouring rain and less than 30 degrees outside.
Ooh.
They got a ride home from Subway. But they did it.
I saw somebody riding their bike in that downpour. So, they're adventurous.
Okay. 10 and 12 years old, and they're invincible.
Well, we got out of the house at 6 a.m. and we didn't come back till 6 at night. You wouldn't want to spend more time in my house than you had to. My mother was a tyrant. God love her.
Well, if she held you underwater for 3 minutes, yeah.
No, she pulled us up every couple.
I think no.
Slapped you, make sure you're still breathing, and threw you back down again. She was a good woman.
Are you gonna read it for him?
It's amazing how fast time doesn't move.
I didn't want it to. So just, I'll keep you up on board business then. We had an issue up at, how's the name of that place again?
Chestnut Lane?
Chestnut Lane. We have that one lot that they're trying to get a building permit for, and Maren didn't want to sign off on it because there's still a lot of issues out there at Chestnut Lane, so we've asked the developer to come in at a later date to talk to us. He's still got 2 lots left out there.
Yeah, it's either 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we told him we're not gonna let him get any more building, so he sold the lot and somebody's building on it, so he needs his permit, so.
And what's the address there?
That's-
19 Chestnut?
Okay.
So he needs to come in and address the shared residential driveway, the issues that are still outstanding there, and.
Who's the builder?
The developer was Paul Gass.
He took it over from the first guy. Yeah.
No, Paul's had it.
Oh,
His first representative was Cohen.
Oh, it's Cohen, so he was the money guy
Cohen
behind it.
ripped him.
That's right, Cohen absconded, and he was holding the bag. He's the money guy, yeah. So he's been there all along.
Yeah, it's been, every step of the way on that one's been painful.
What else? Any other things we need to bring them up to speed on?
You have a developer coming in to discuss the remaining lots on the Gray.
Well, Gray Farm, the suggestion was for 2 of you to meet with him on site, just to walk through and let him know what your issues are. And we had,
He's coming into town, he's coming to the town though, right?
well,
Yeah.
who of you wants to meet with him, and do you want to meet on site, or do you want to meet in town hall? He's open to
Who are you
discussion.
talking about?
Gray
Roddy
Farm,
Palmer, Gray Farms.
I already sent you a note back, didn't I?
but you're happy to meet, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to meet here? I'll be with you if you want.
Or meet him out at the site, it's fine.
It's up to you guys. It'll be 4:30 in a couple weeks. Is it still light then? Light enough?
Should be by then.
Yeah, it's getting lighter every day. It's
Yeah.
5:30, so.
Yay.
Does anyone else want to do it with Peter, or I'll do it if no one else wants to? I'll do it because I have the history. I'll do it. Okay. All right.
There you
So
go.
we'll meet out there.
Okay.
What's the history?
Well, I was there when it was approved. That's the difference.
What year was that land bought?
That was our first open space plan. Very first one we did.
You were on the board at that time, weren't you?
That's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah, you were, Maren was on the board.
Was that in the 90s when they did that? Or was that across 2000? I think it was back in the,
90s.
Yeah, it was 90s, yeah.
yeah, I went on the walk for that too. Getting the approval on
How many years ago was that? I've been on this board for 30 years.
No, it's been 30.
It was-
I think we ought to start discussing term limits.
I'd love to.
All right, let's make 2 terms, that's it.
Okay, can I leave now?
Yep, goodbye with your handy,
This stuff.
and the suits.
Oh, it's all workers. All
Yeah.
right, so we have,
And then, so I was gonna just do a quick update on the three grants that we're working off of right now.
Talk.
If you remember the Housing Choice Initiative program that the Littleton qualified for a grant, and the fire department put in for $250,000 for their breathing gear to update that. And that's, those funds have been awarded and in the process of being spent. So that was,
they got the money?
yeah,
Wow,
yeah, they did.
from the state, right? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. That was the one where we got to go in and see the presentation for it. It was-
I have a housing trust meeting. What date is that one?
We have to talk about that because
All right, okay.
I don't know. I've got a conflict with
All right.
another meeting, but just
Okay.
need direction whether you need me there or
Oh,
not.
we'll do it after the meeting, okay.
Yep.
Anything else?
3 grants. That was the first one. The second one was the work for the Littleton Common revitalization for the $140,000 study that is almost complete for Littleton Common revitalization. $50,000 of that was state grant funds from EEA, and that was the one that Anna was instrumental in putting the grant application together. So those funds are in the process of being spent, and, we've got.
Spent appropriately.
There you go. And so that work is ongoing and almost complete. And then the third grant that, planning grant that we're working on right now is for the Littleton Commuter Station area study. And that's what we were just talking about, that we'll get an update from Judy at the Selectmen's meeting on the 28th.
Good.
And then she's planning an intensive charrette weekend sometime this spring to finish that report,
Okay.
finish that process.
All right, well,
7:15.
7:15, we have a public hearing, 119 Russell Street, Workers' Credit Union, Aquifer Water Resource Special Permit.
The Town of Littleton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, January 10th at 7:15 in room 103 of Town Hall, 37 Shattuck Street, to consider the application for special permit pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, the Code of the Town of Littleton zoning. The applicant is in for Aquifer and Water Resource District special permit under Section 173-61 through 173-64, and any other permit relief as may be required under Littleton zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project. The applicant, property location 119 Russell Street, map R-18, parcel 2-0 and 2-1. Applicant and owner is Workers' Credit Union. The applicant is seeking special permit approval to allow development and redevelopment of existing commercial property to allow upgrades to the existing office building in use as the Workers' Credit Union headquarters in a new 2,000 square foot bank. Application and plans can be viewed at the Planning Department and the Town Clerk's office during their business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should appear at the time and place designated or provide comment to Ms. Toohill or at P.O. Box 1305, Littleton, Mass. 01460. Signed, Anna Houston, Clerk.
Thank you.
You, Ed.
Gentlemen,
Gentlemen, ladies, good evening, Happy New Year.
You as well.
Good evening. For the record, Douglas DeShane, representing Workers' Credit Union. I would like to quickly introduce our team. Doug Peterson, CEO and President of Workers' Credit Union. Robert Lockett, Senior Vice President for Workers. Matthew Blackham from the Blackham Company is a development consultant on the project, and Brian Goudreau from Hancock Engineering. We are here this evening, as said, seeking a special permit under your Aquifer and Water Resource District bylaw to allow for sewage flow greater than 6 gallons per day per 1,000 square feet of area. As you'll recall, Workers' Credit Union has proposed and permitted through this board previously the redevelopment of the facility at 119 Russell Street, whereby we are we proposed and are going to increase the existing building from a 44,000 square foot building to 60,000 square feet, and additionally build a small branch office on the abutting parcel. In fact, construction was scheduled to begin in November of last year. However, in the context of designing the final, or doing the final designing of the new septic facility, we discovered that we would in fact be subject to and exceed the regulations, and there are two, as you know, your zoning regulation, and there's also a Board of Health regulation which limits the sewage flow to 6 gallons per day per 1,000 square feet in this area. So we put the project on hold and have subsequently sought the necessary permits from the Board of Health and now this board to be able to move forward. We do understand that the board has received comments from the Water Department. In fact, Brian has been working with the Water Department on this project for a while, and so we understand some of their concerns and suggestions. We understand that the Water Department, as long as we can meet the Title V limitations of 440 gallons per day per acre, and which we can, which the system will, and install monitoring wells, that they would be supportive of the they were supportive of the variance granting with the Board of Health and the granting of a special permit. Workers' Credit Union is committed to working with this board and meeting the Water Department recommendations or any other conditions that this board may impose in helping us get past this situation. Our only concern is that, given the fact that we just received earlier this week a conditional variance from the Board of Health, that is, we want to be sure that any requirements or any agreements that the board asks from us, that we can fulfill them and not conflict with the conditions granted or required by the Board of Health, so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where by meeting your condition we violate one of theirs, or vice versa. So I believe we can satisfy all conditions. We just need to make sure they are consistent. And I just want to give you 1 minute of the conditions that the Board of Health imposed on us, so you have an understanding of where we are currently in the process. They did agree to grant us the variance. However, we had to agree that we would agree initially to occupy no more than 44,000 square feet of the new building. In other words, we can't use any more of the building than exists today. We'll be able to do that using the existing septic system, which passed Title V. And furthermore, the board has requested that we will inspect and pump as necessary that system every 6 months during this initial startup. And we've also committed, or required to commit, to the following. At the time Workers' Credit Union requires to expand beyond the 44,000. Now recall, when we were here, Workers isn't going to move enough people in there to occupy the whole building. In fact, we see a 3, 4 to 5 year period before they would fully occupy the building. So a limitation to only occupy the 44,000 is more than sufficient, for the startup and the move and that kind of thing. So what we've agreed, or what the board has required as conditions, is that 1, at the time Workers' Credit Union requires to expand beyond the 44,000, they will, 1, tie into the town's sewer system, provided it is available. And we've been working with the town and the sewer group to understand their timing and their, when contracts are going to be available. And it does seem that the timing is going to work, given that we have a 14-month build-out. Then we're going to move in, say 60 employees. It's going to take a number of years to build up. It sounds like everyone seems very optimistic that it's going to work out. So, but we are committed to signing an agreement with the board that when we're ready to go into that beyond the 44, We will tie into the sewer system provided it's available. And as I said, we are currently working with the Board of Health and the town, as the town administrator will be part of that agreement, to spell out the details on that. If, however, the sewer is unavailable, perhaps the town doesn't move forward, it's not funded, whatever, but if it's not available at that time, when Workers wants to expand, then the board and the town have the right to require us to install a new septic system under a nitrogen aggregation plan that meets all applicable rules and regs, including the Board of Health. So essentially, when the time comes to expand, if that sewer is ready, which we all hope and believe it will be, we'll tie in. Otherwise, the town has the right, before allowing us to expand, to require the new aggregation plan and system, and that's where we'll go forward with thereon. Part of that agreement, however, is that if we need to expand, and the sewer is not available, not because the town's not building it, because of timing, it's going to be another 3 months, or it's going to be another 4 months before we're ready to tie in, but we need to expand, then part of our agreement with the board is that the board will consider allowing us to occupy the entire building and impose additional conditions on us relating to pumping of the system, monitoring, wells, all of that. Because really what the town is protecting, I believe, is everybody wants us to tie into the sewer. We want to tie into the sewer. The town would like to see that go forward. But if there's a timing issue, like Workers is ready to expand, but the sewer's just a couple months down the road, the Board of Health left itself an opening to be able to, not require us to put in a new system, knowing that the sewer is going to be available in a short term. So they were going to impose additional conditions. We're going to have to go to them, and they talked about, will make us pump it more regularly, make us monitor nitrogen levels, and all of that. So we're very, very comfortable that, the Board of Health has been great in working with us and putting in this requirement and this plan to allow us to move forward and to hopefully allow the septic system program to move forward as well. They did view Workers as a great potential, participant. So with that, gentlemen, ladies, we're certainly here to discuss what your thoughts are concerning our requested special permit and what conditions, if any, you'd like to impose. And again, we would just like to verify that however it comes together, that it's consistent with this, so we don't find ourselves, in a, just.
Are you separating the waters of the gray water, or is this, you're not doing any of that?
Nope.
You don't gain any benefit by doing it that way?
No, so Title V doesn't differentiate between gray water and wastewater. It's all the same, so it has to go into the septic system.
So it was this afternoon when I was having the conversations with Doug and with Corey Godfrey at the Water Department. We were back and forth several times. Corey's recommendations is to have the 3 groundwater monitoring wells, 1 upstream, 2 downstream. And those would be put in soon and then monitored right away, so we have an existing conditions.
Baseline,
And while they are occupying the building before
Full capacity.
Yeah, before they're at full capacity. Ongoing monitoring will be done, and if the groundwater shows over 10 milligrams per liter of nitrogen levels, at that point, that would trigger a year for them to remedy the situation. A remedy could be hook up to town sewer, install a new system on site with nitrogen aggregation, which is either off-site land set aside or nitrogen mitigation on site.
Enhanced treatment.
Enhanced treatment. So he felt with those steps, groundwater quality would be protected, and would recommend that you issue this special permit. This is one where we do want final wording according to town council, and that way we have a chance to work on it for a while and run it by town council and Jim Gareffi and Corey Godfrey.
What does your modeling show the nitrogen loading at the property line at?
So we don't actually have to run those models until we trigger a specific flow rate. So we haven't done nitrogen modeling yet.
Nothing at all? But you're comfortable you'll be able to keep it under 10?
Absolutely.
Well, yes, but the non-technical guy, my question and concern was, we don't know what the current baseline is. And what happens if we do this and we move into the 44,000 square feet, the limited part, and we utilize the existing system, and then, either as soon as we start testing or within just a couple of months, we exceed that 10 milligram per liter standard, then we would be required to tie into the sewer or do the new system. Well, we do know that the system's not going to be available, say, realistically for 2 years. We've got a 14-month build-out, so there could be an 8 to 12-month time frame where we're in there in the 44,000 square feet, the sewer's not available, and we exceed that 10 milligrams because it's already, a baseline close to it, or, again, just the operation of the system in the past pushed it to that number. And then what do we do? Because now we have to go to the aggregation plan, and put in the new technology. Meanwhile, the town is expecting us to tie into the sewer. And, that's what I meant about being in conflict with the Board of Health regulations. So I guess I'd just like to ask her.
Well, the sewer isn't a done deal regardless. Okay, it's not a done deal.
Right.
So in a matter of 2 years, whether the sewerage there is there or not, you guys are gonna have to be prepared, obviously, and have the means to put a system in that will handle that area. I think you ought to have some form of a reading now, so you know what your baseline is. If it's 9 now, you're in trouble right off the bat. How long are you gonna move in? I mean, protecting your instance, is that true? Does this make sense?
There is, isn't there?
Excuse me?
Oh, I was asking Maren another question. No, I'm still on your line, yes.
What did I just, what do
You
you
want to
think?
make sure that they have their ducks in a row, that if they, forget about the pie in the sky of the town sewer, they're gonna have to be able to stand on their own if something goes wrong with this.
Nice work, you can do both.
I know how you think, see?
I wouldn't imagine that. What
No,
the hell?
but am I being sort of clear in my?
No, you're very clear, and
concern?
you're actually
And-
you're showing both sides of the coin, which is great,
Yeah.
and if they're on board with knowing what the potential for them to, and again, it's a nice place, it's a nice lot, it's good, and
So can I
Sound
offer
like
a
great neighbors?
suggestion, another suggestion?
Sure.
Some of those lots down there that are close to the wells, on the other side that were in the other side of Beaver Brook, the Stover Saddlery, and a couple of the other ones, in order to make sure that they didn't have a problem with their 10 parts per million on the property line based on the size of their lot, bought more land.
Credit land,
Right.
yeah, part of an nitrogen aggregation.
foolish.
I have to be honest with the board. We have, during this last couple of months, in looking at different ways to address the issue with the Board of Health, we have investigated and negotiated and tried to buy credit land, which we still are. We still have, we're still in active discussions with that, and
How much do you need? Have you calculated?
10 acres.
You need 10 more acres? So we own, Town of Littleton has a lot of land on the other side of you, and maybe you can buy the 10 acres from us, keep it in a conservation trust, which is what it's at, to give you the buffer that you need.
Well, Mark, we looked and investigated into the question of using credit land to satisfy. I have to tell you, although I know this board is very familiar with the use of credit land to satisfy, the requirements, the Board of Health has not done that in the past, and Mr. Garaffi had some concerns about whether their Regulation 10 allowed that. We're clear Title V does, but because the local regulation,
But we've done it in this town a
I
number of
know you
times.
have,
I'm
Mark, and
just,
that's why we were going to propose it. In fact, when we went to the Board of Health the other night, that was our original plan. But because the discussions with the sewer department really went well just prior to the meeting, we withdrew the plan to use credit land and instead spoke with the Board of Health about this idea that we would participate, we would set this all up with the idea of participating in the sewer program, and the fallback would be that we would have to come in with a nitrogen aggregation plan utilizing credit land and/or, advanced treatment technology, which we've also gone through the exercise of having an engineer look at and design a nitrogen reduction technology. There's a lot of that technology that's off the shelf for residential use and small business use, but when you start talking about a bigger facility like this, it actually has to be a custom designed and built. So we've actually, we've covered all those bases. So, but again, Mark, the discussions with the board, with the town were going so well in terms of what we could help with the sewer program and what the town was trying to achieve. We went to the board this week and said we wanted a variance, and that's when they imposed these conditions about tie into the sewer. If it's not available, do the nitrogen reduction. So,
And you're capable of doing the nitrogen reduction on the existing site without any,
well, we would do a nitrogen, what they call a nitrogen aggregation plan, and that's where you use either credit land or, specialized nitrogen reduction, or both, to meet the standard. So we,
Sounds to me like you can meet the requirement.
yeah, we can. And again, we really, in terms of installing the wells and testing the nitrogen and all of that, we're more than happy to do that and understand the reason. What we're having problem with is this, again, because we don't have a baseline nitrogen.
I get that, but in the past when we've done it, the aquifer water resource is ours. This is the septic, no question around it. You're asking us for relief from the property line, 10%. In the past, what we've done is asked you to buy more land. And if we have some conservation, some land that's right there that would be advantageous for you and advantageous for us, I think we should look at that at the same time. And we'll deal with the Board of Health on that issue if we have to go that far.
Okay, so what
And
you're
I think
saying,
that's the same thing that Doug has proposed, if I'm not mistaken.
That
Because he's-
they will seek it if it's
I would
required.
think, my idea is to have them do it before they do it now.
Well, if I may just interject, I think the key difference here that we heard was comments from the town, that the town, right now, when we occupy 44,000 square feet, we're not going to be changing the condition on the site. Today, there's a septic system that can accommodate the 44,000 square feet. The issue that we see, and happy to work through, is that the town wants to be able to control if we tie into septic, into sewer. And the objection that we had was that we didn't want to do both. So as long as we're not put in a position where we have to do both, we're comfortable proceeding. The issue is that the town, what we heard from the town on Tuesday evening is they may want us to wait and tie into sewer. So they want to be able to say to us, we want you to tie into sewer. We don't want you to move forward with the nitrogen aggregation plan. And so our concern is that we get put in a position where we have to put in the nitrogen aggregation plan and then have to tie into sewer. We're happy to push forward with the nitrogen aggregation plan if the town says push forward with the nitrogen aggregation plan. We're happy to push forward and tie into sewer if the town says tie into sewer. The only concern we have is that we just don't want to have to do both, because both aren't necessary. And
makes sense?
and so what I think Doug was articulating is that the existing conditions through the Board of Health permit give the town the absolute control now. So the town could come back to us at any point and ask us to put in the nitrogen aggregation plan. But what the town wanted was the control to be able to provide sufficient time to get the sewer online and cause us to tie into the sewer. And I think what Doug's saying is what we're trying to avoid is a condition that requires us to put in the nitrogen aggregation plan, and then we have a secondary approval that still requires us to tie into the sewer if the town requests us to tie into sewer.
If it's available to you in a timely manner.
Correct. But the town at any point can come to us under the existing approval and ask us to push forward with the enhanced treatment.
I think want me to weigh in?
Sure, go ahead.
Please.
You have a building right now that's 44,000 square feet, correct?
Yes, sir.
It operates just the way it operates now without any issues whatsoever, correct?
Correct.
If you do not build the building to the left-hand side of it, which adds another 15,000 square feet or 16,000 square feet,
16.
that's what puts you over the limits, correct?
Correct.
You're gonna remodel the one you're at right now, is what I'm under the impression, correct?
It's gonna be expanded,
Right, you're good. To what size?
60,000.
Not including the property to the left of it, or including it?
Are we talking about the
One
bank?
saying
You're
yes,
talking
one
about the
saying
little bank, the bank branch?
that's not included in the
Separate.
60,000.
Yeah,
Right.
that's.
So now to go from 44 to 66 to 60, you're adding 16,000 square feet.
Correct.
And the existing septic system you have now will handle that, it will not? It
Will
just-
not.
It just,
44.
what's the difference in gallons per day? From 10 to 9? Is that what, by the square footage in the yard, in the thing, is that what it was? Well, then, so, in reality, if you increase the septic system, leave the small building off, you can increase the existing septic system to handle the new flow, correct?
Not and meet the local
The new
regulations.
regs, or the
Correct.
complete Title V regs?
No, Title
Title
V,
V,
Title
yes.
V we can meet, absolutely. It's
It's the
the,
aquifer issue that we have
correct, the
going
6
on.
gallons per day
It's
for
the-
those.
The 16,
So-
the 16,000 square feet for the large building, in the 60,000 square foot building, excuse me, is gonna be left in a raw shell. It's not gonna be fit out.
Mhm.
So, and we haven't applied for with permits that we have not applied to fit it out. So the town, we'd have to apply for a building permit in order to build it out and therefore occupy it,
Mhm.
leaving the town in a controlling position with respect to that occupancy. And the existing space that's being fit out in the 60,000 square foot building is equivalent to the existing capacity on the site. So although the building would be expanded, the physical use of that building
The
would not
square footage of
exceed.
usable space is still gonna be basically within 44,000 square
Correct.
feet. You're just making prettiness, right? View ceilings and
Oh, no,
walk-ins.
Shell it out.
it's gonna be shelled.
Okay.
Someday it could be finished for occupancy.
If you don't finish your basement, they don't charge you as finished floor space, right? If you don't finish the turnkey into that addition that you would propose, then it's not usable space yet, right?
Correct.
Is there a way that the building inspector can allow it to them to do their building? Don't do the one on the side? You ride out the 18 months, which is your proposed build-out?
14, yeah.
But they don't want that, they want,
No. They're getting their square footage, they're getting their building. The one off to the side, which we'll add to it later, is a different entity. Let that lay until you know what's going on with the septic system or the town sewer, if it does.
no, but you wanna build the.
Well, Peter, the
bank.
2,000 square foot, I believe it's 2,000 square foot bank branch is on a separate lot.
Okay,
But it's gonna use the same septic system.
No,
It is
no,
not, no.
no.
You are gonna use the system.
It has its own
Yeah,
little
it's got-
system,
it's got
new,
a small-
a new, small,
Okay.
yeah, that's,
So when,
The
all right,
60,000
but
square
it only
I
has
thought they were
200
added together,
gallons a
I'm sorry.
day flow.
But they're still, they're coerced, they're joined at the hip now anyways, correct?
What, the septic?
The system, the building now
Yeah,
and the bank to be,
Mhm.
they're married, they're touching lot lines.
well, the
It's the
lots,
adjacent
the
lot.
lots are adjacent, yes, sir.
Yeah, so,
But Peter, if we took the square footage of the bank lot, that doesn't, allow us to meet any of these.
the flow rate still.
No,
No,
it's
so
a
Can't put a
small
system
lot.
big enough,
So,
in the lot
going
next
back
to
to
it.
my scenario.
Yeah.
Leave his for a second. If we could come up with a way to give you get you 10 acres and some sort of conservatory approach, so that it's obviously never gonna be built on, but it counts for your calculations, and that way you have money in the bank, it's all set, you're done, there's no conditions. Wouldn't that make it more sense than, and I agree, you could still tie it to the septic if you wanted to, if it still made sense.
Sewer.
Sewer, I mean.
We,
That's the double issue, I think.
Yeah,
we're
that's
trying to
They're
balance.
trying, I mean,
I
I
get-
hear what they're saying, I don't,
Why should they
I
go
think
out and
that-
buy 10 acres of land
if they don't need it,
if they don't have to?
because they're gonna tie into sewer.
And in our instance, we've already
It's
paid for that
insurance,
land.
it's what it really, you're buying insurance.
No,
You're
they're
buying-
they're buying us
Insurance on
more,
the project.
more
No, I don't mean
space.
it that way. The
See,
fact-
Mark, but the insurance is, and what the town has, the sort of the control that the town has put upon us through the Board of Health conditions, is that if, when we decide to expand into that's additional 16,000 square feet, and again, that's sort of dictated by the business. We're estimating it's going to be 3, 4, 5 years, in which case that's plenty of time to get all the sewer things straightened out, or just
Or not.
decide to build a new system,
not.
or not. The board had, the Board of Health has said, when we get to the point where we want to expand, then you will hook into sewer if it's available. And if it's available in the next few months, they'll kind of work with us. But if it's not available, bang, we have to meet
Okay, I'm
full aggregation plan, whether we
10
do it with
10
credit
parts per
landmark.
million.
And if that comes to fruition, we will certainly come back to you to discuss. But we either have to then have the credit land and/or put the nitrogen technology. So the town is guaranteed that before we can occupy beyond sort of what's there today, we have to either have sewer or a complete
okay.
plan. We do. We're,
So, I don't have a problem with what you have proposed before you, you know.
I mean, if you could grant us the permit with those same conditions, you would be assured that we would never occupy the building unless we tie to sewer or put in the new system, including potential credit land.
Do you have a problem piggybacking it to the Board of Health? It's really their domain, other than.
The only thing I don't understand is I don't get if you're buying credit land. Well, this right here is where, let's say things go bad, and this lot where they're building, yeah, something went bad and there's sewage everywhere, right? Well, now you're buying credit land 12 miles away.
Well, it can't
What
be
good
done.
does that do to
Oh,
what's
no,
that's
no,
happened
no,
here?
Peter, the way that credit land thing works is, I mean, if your system fails, I don't care how much credit land or anything else you have, you gotta fix it, you gotta
Right.
replace it.
But
What-
we're in
what
a
the-
special place. We're in a.
Oh,
an
exactly,
aquifer.
I know, you don't want that to happen.
Right.
But remember too, our systems are all Title V compliant.
It's a mathematical calculation.
But yeah, they look at a big giant area, like 5 acre, or 5 miles, and they say, okay, you can have a certain level of nitrogen loading here.
Okay.
And so if you're proposing to put a certain amount here, and you don't have enough land to meet the 6
Right.
per square, because because the land has to be in the same aquifer protection district, they say, okay, you can take credit land over here and say
Okay.
you'll never dump on here, so that when you add it up, you're dumping no more than the 6 gallons that people concluded was allowed in this 5 mile.
You'd be amazed how many buildings in town of Littleton have credit land all around them.
Okay.
All the couple-
That's what I didn't,
Okay.
We know every one on Great Road.
You have a problem piggybacking it to the Board?
I don't, but I just had a quick question. What language is it that I heard you say, Maren, is going to be reviewed by town council?
Well, actually, all the language.
All of
yeah,
this
just,
proposed
if-
language,
If
okay.
you are voting with conditions, I would ask that one of the conditions be the final wording according
yeah.
to town council, and that gives us leeway to make sure it's right.
And that's great for us, because the Board of Health has imposed that same
Are
requirement.
you okay with this?
I am.
Are you
I'm in
okay with
favor.
this?
it sounds fair. I mean, it's, I don't like that they have to, have all the balls in the air and at the very end decide whether they're gonna, get hit in the head with a few of them or
Well,
drop
we
a
don't,
few.
you're right, we don't decide that, Peter, the
Mr.
town
Saunders, do you
has.
have a quick question?
I have a comment.
Please.
George Sanders, 672 Great Road. My concern here is that with the credit land, as you spoke earlier about the town having some conservation land that was close by, if they had to go to that step and purchase from the town, and say later down the line that they want to go on the sewer system if the town ever get it, would they be able to sell the land back to the town?
Why would we buy it back? We say, no, that's yours.
Well,
You've already paid, you've eaten the dinner, don't pay for it.
the reality too, with respect to credit land, as you may know, you can purchase it outright. But what we normally do is what you purchase as a covenant, or the way Title V does it, is you don't buy the underlying fee in the land. You just get a covenant and easement that says the owner of this land will not build on this piece of,
They don't really own it, it's just more for,
it's a covenant. So the town would,
It's extortion.
anyway.
The point I wanted to make was that the Board of Health, they're completely new to the fact of credit land. There was one person there that said, no, I don't want to go that route. I think that whatever is applicable by law, I think that they have the right to pursue their avenue. And that if they put in the criteria that you can't do it, I think then the health board is wrong by saying that.
Mr. Saunders, I appreciate your comments. I guess what I was trying to do was reach a little too far for the town. I figured if they bought the town-owned land that's behind the police
Oh, it's right
station
here.
and kept it in perpetuity as open space, and that at a later date, they might decide, okay, we want to tie into the sewer, then the town would have the best of both worlds. They're bankers, they figured it out before I got a chance to get it out of my mouth that, where I was coming from, so.
But you
If they-
know-
They still may decide to do it.
yeah, well, if things
sewer's
go
not there,
according
they
to
might
plan
have
in
to,
the sewer for, reasons beyond our control or, quite frankly, the town's, that system doesn't go, we will have no choice but to do an aggregation plan, and we will be back in the market,
Oh, it's
Mr.
gonna cost you
Montanari,
a lot more
for
than-
credit land.
When you need it, it's just like a bank. When you need it, it costs more money. When
We're
you
well-
don't need the money, you
never
give it
dealt
up.
with
We've
workers
learned
before.
that in the last 2 months, believe me, and we've dealt with, 6 or 12 private landowners, and it's.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Rob Toombs. I'm a Russell Street resident. I actually live right across the street. I live right here. And I've been watching this project for a while. My main concern is that this building and the whole parking lot is at a higher elevation. I'm a homeowner that lives across the street than our property. My concern is that's going to raise the water table, and if there's ever a sewage spillage, it's going to go right into my property. The other thing, I don't know how many people here have walked around the Workers' Credit Union building, but if you walk around the back of this, there's a little bit of grass, and there's a pond back here and a stream. The water table is very, very high, and it's higher than the elevation of my house. And I'm concerned that this is going to pump a lot of water into the water table and raise the water level for the whole area. And all the houses across the street here are about the same level.
They have to do all their calculations to make sure pre and post development are not going to affect you at all.
Well, the other thing is that the bank outlet put over here is going to add to it. There's never been another building there. That's brand new. I don't, common sense thing, I see the digital credit unit at the center of town sitting empty. Why don't they just put it up there instead of adding it to this? That building's been sitting there for a long time.
It's occupied.
They, like I said, they've already bought it. They're committed to going there. Rest assured that the engineering they have to do to make sure that they're pre and post, we haven't even got there yet. We're just,
No, actually, we did that last year.
It's already
You
done.
you guys did it.
It's already done.
so,
Weren't you here?
No, I
I
might have
take my
been.
compliment back.
I might have been out that day. But anyway,
But there's always been watering pipes along the properties there. And I know the town, when I built the house over there, I've been there for 20 years. So I've seen a lot of changes there. And when I built over there, they're watering pipes, and they're concerned about the water level 20 years ago.
Do you have a sump pump?
Yes, I do.
Does it run now?
It's not running right now. That's not, my concern is that's gonna, all of a sudden the water level's gonna go up and you're not gonna be able to see it, but then it's gonna start running and,
Do all your neighbors have them?
I don't know if they'll have them,
it's not, like, we know it's wet behind there because of the highway, and the drainage from the highway goes right over there, but.
And Beaver Brook is right behind them. They're at the same level as
Mr.
Beaver Brook.
Montanari, if I could.
Between two big water tables in there, and there's no place for it to go.
I just to provide you some understanding and, a response to your concern, we were back here last year with this board, and we're held to a standard of having to show that the work we're proposing to do will in fact not do what you're concerned about in terms of increasing runoff to abutting properties. And the board had an independent engineer review our engineering to make sure, in fact, it will meet those standards. We also, given that it's wet there and it's wetlands back there, we spent a lot of time working with your Conservation Commission in terms of what they were requiring us to do to ensure, stormwater controls, no water runoff, no impacts to the wetlands. And we are actually doing improvements on the site through this board in reducing impervious surface on the site. Although we're building up, we're also taking back some impervious so that we, again, can guarantee that we won't cause water problems for neighbors. And you'll recall, that was one of the requirements this board, that we had to control impervious surface. So we've done everything, and the board, through their own separate independent engineers, have verified that we've designed this so that we won't, sir, have that impact on your property.
But there's been a lot of changes in that area too, with the point up there. That's much higher than everybody else in elevation, so there's just one water table and everything's flowing into it.
You know what used to be at your house?
A racetrack.
There's remains of it too, you can see.
Automobile?
No, racetrack.
Horses, Sully's.
Plants
Anyway.
stays,
So we're gonna send this off to town
Town
council
council to have the wordage.
for the
Right,
wordage.
so, the request is, I would recommend that you go ahead and close the hearing.
Right,
And
vote
vote
it.
conditionally, according to the discussions, and we get reviews from
Town council.
town council.
Great, because when I submit the written conditions that the Board of Health has requested, your council will be reviewing the exact same document for you.
Virtually, yes.
So I will make that motion once Anna returns.
Once Anna returns from,
Do we need her?
Yes.
yeah, you do need it to vote.
Need 4.
The other day I had a bumper sticker made. It says on it, "Honk if you think I'm handsome." So when I feel a little down, I stop at green lights.
Did you put that on your Corvette? Did you put it on your Corvette?
No, I only drove it like 200 miles this year.
Well, it's no longer a car, it's a piece of art and investment.
Anna, just knock if you're in favor of it.
I'm not, you never mess with a woman in the
No,
bathroom.
I'm just kidding.
You've never been married, so I guess you never had that opportunity.
So I'll make a motion that we close the hearing and move for a review from town council with the modifications and the requirements suggested, not only here, but through
Board of
the
Health.
Board of Health's requirements as well.
So,
Second.
And I heard you say approve this special permit as requested.
I did say that, yes.
Now you want a second?
Second.
You didn't hear that?
Peter seconded. All those in favor of closing the hearing
Aye.
and approving the special permit with the conditions as noted, sending it off to town council. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you. We expect to have that document the first of next week for you and for your council.
Still like my idea better.
Mark, I'm telling you, if the sewer thing doesn't come to fruition, we'll be back
It
here.
might cost you 5 times as much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you. Good luck, by the way.
Thanks, guys.
When's the
See
construction
ya.
supposed to start across the street?
Last November,
We're just,
and now we're hoping to start in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, it's a couple weeks, okay.
Or,
We're gonna be
well,
organizing a community meeting.
oh, we're
Yeah,
gonna
I've been getting the
community meeting.
notices, but yeah, I've gotten the notices from the guys, but.
we have
we'll do
a
that.
7:45 public hearing.
Take them outside.
Go through the plan, ask questions.
Okay, yeah, I'd be interested.
You ready for us? Come on,
Okay, thanks.
come on down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You let me be heard, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for participating. Public hearing wireless telecommunications special permit 559A Newtown Road. The Town of Littleton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, January 10th at 7:45 PM in room 103 of the Shattuck Street Town Hall, 37 Shattuck Street, to consider the application to reissue a special permit pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, in the Code of the Town of Littleton Wireless Telecommunication Towers and Facilities, Section 173-128 through 173-133. Property location 559A Newtown Road, map U-30, parcel 5A, property owner, Town of Littleton Water Department. The applicant is seeking to reuse a prior special permit under the Wireless Telecommunication and Facilities Bylaw to allow installation of up to 12 panel antennas, related equipment and associated improvements at the 559A Newtown Road water tank site. Application and plans can be viewed at the Planning Board and Town Clerk's office during their business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should appear at the time and place designated. Signed, Clerk Anna Houston.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you're the lattice tower behind the water tower up on the big hill, Newtown Hill.
Yep.
And you want to,
So, let me introduce myself. I'm Mike Dolan from the law firm of Brown Rudnick here on behalf of New Singular Wireless, otherwise known as AT&T. I think you all know my client has FCC licenses to operate a wireless network throughout the country and here in the Commonwealth. So I was here myself in 2015, and remember you were on the board then. And sounds like it was even longer than that based on
Might be a
earlier
year or two
conversations.
longer,
But
Got on in 62.
anyway,
wait a minute, I don't want to do that math.
so we approved your.
You did, and what happened was there were changes to the National Development Program as to where certain resources were being allocated. That project was put on hold. We had a variance that lapsed, and our special permit, we're up to the 4th of 5 years. So as part of our rejuvenation and starting over with the variance, we wanted to come before this board again to see if we could get our special permit reissued. We're proposing the exact same thing. Actually, we're proposing a couple less antennas, but we still have AT&T still has a significant gap in its coverage there. We have worked with fire and police, and I know Marin's well aware of this, to coordinate the relocation of the emergency services antennas to the top of this new structure, which I think will even benefit them, and then it'll be that much higher. So we're hoping that's a new benefit to what we had previously proposed for this, at this site. And we're just respectfully coming back here, seeing if you guys would reissue that special permit.
Does the board have any questions on this?
I see the fire chief is here, so I thought we'd hear from him.
Now we don't need to hear from him. So this is the lattice tower behind the big water tower on Newtown Hill. They want to make it taller.
The one that's the very
can't-
incline.
Yeah, it's in the
Row.
back of it. You really can't even see it. It's behind the big tower. You have to actually drive up there to see it.
Isn't
don't
that
you?
one for sale?
Excuse me?
Isn't the land in the
No.
big tower for sale with the 5 acres on, 5
different.
stories down?
Yeah, there's another tower about a mile down Newtown Road.
This is by the water tank.
Yeah.
Newtown Road.
Oh,
Next to
it's
the
down near
Old
Wickham.
house.
It's
Wickham's house.
a lattice tower. The other one's the red
How does it hold
cross.
water if it's lattice?
Excuse me?
How does it hold water if it's
No, don't
lattice?
listen.
No,
I don't get a
and
lot
we're
of
just,
fun out of it, right?
we're just adding 15 feet to the,
Which you got the special permit from the ZBA to do it.
we
As
get the
well.
height variance for the 15
Yeah.
previously. We're gonna go back and get that again, and we'd gotten the special permit,
From us.
site plan approval from this.
You have to go up another 15 or just simply renew the existing one you have?
We haven't done anything yet, so it's to do that same 15 we never did that we got an approval.
Same number or less number as before that you were approved for?
Yes.
And we can't renegotiate what they do to us, correct?
But they pay us, you mean?
Well, I always got a question, is that on my bill for, well, Verizon, I get a bill for property tax. Do you know that we can bill them for our telephone poles? Did you know that? And we do. I want to know where all that money goes.
No idea. Anyway, that's,
Verizon, I don't know.
so anyway.
18.
So we approved it 5 years ago. They never built it. Now they want to build it.
I don't see an issue.
Do you have any
Personally.
issues?
It sounds like there's a benefit to the town with the height increase for emergency services, both police and fire, so.
The emergency services whip antennas must be moved to the highest level, or, because if they're below an extension, they might lose some of their capacity.
So I'm okay to approve as long as emergency services lands on top.
And the request from the fire department is that the town contractors do that relocation.
Oh, you guys want to do it? You said you don't want to have them do it?
It's,
Cybercom does all of the town radio work. It'd be, I think, simple enough to at least make sure that everything's realigned if Cybercom could just do that, do the extension. It's only the two whips that would need to be extended up. The microwave dish would
Stay where it is.
remain right where it is.
Okay. As long as you guys can work it out between you, I got no problem with that. So I'll entertain a motion to reapprove the, I'll get it when it gets out. Reapprove the cell tower on Newtown Hill, the lattice tower,
559A.
559.
as was approved 5 years ago.
With
the conditions of-
of
The emergency whips being up higher, 15 feet higher.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There you go.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Maren, who helped us pull things together in a pinch and did a great job.
Thank you.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
All right, so we have an 8:15 public hearing, Jones Meadow. Oh, actually, it's still a little early, so I guess we gotta wait for that. Wow, we caught up. Yeah. Anyway.
Can we go over any of our board business?
I think we went over most of it already.
All of it?
Yeah, what else you wanna talk about?
Board membership status? We'll have that meeting, and there's 2 people, maybe 3?
3 applicants have come in.
Who's the third one again?
Some realtor from which one, I don't know. I don't know what his name is.
So it's,
What about the budget? Do you care about the budget, or are you fine?
I presented the draft budget to the finance, at the finance committee hearing on Saturday. Went quite well. They are not at the point of making decisions yet on which items to fund and which to not.
When do we find out what was approved by, in the budget? Like in March?
Yeah, before the town meeting warrant closes usually. Well, it varies,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I do have a quick question going back to the first item around the board membership status, a joint meeting with the selectmen. So what does that process look like when we show up on the 28th?
You're gonna sit in the front row with us, and they're gonna sit in these seats, we're gonna be there. And we're gonna talk about the applicants that are before us, to talk about who we wanna put on the planning board for the last
So do
couple
we
of months.
actually interview or ask,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
questions?
So one of the things I think we should request from HR is a list of general questions, so they all get asked the same questions
Well,
prior to the meeting, so we can get answers. So they all have an equal opportunity, nobody gets asked one more question or less question, or given any more time or less time.
Okay.
So if we give them a set of written questions that they can answer.
So they'll already know what questions to answer.
one of the suggestions is if you have any questions that you want to ask, just send those to
Send
me,
them on.
and we can,
Okay.
compile those and make sure that's not too much overlap that
And it should be
stretches
short.
out
We
too
should be
long.
asking 2 or 3 questions, the selectmen should be asking 2 or 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
No more than 6 or 7, in my experience or my opinion, should go. And
Okay.
then, then let them,
So we have 3 applicants now, and we still have another, 2 weeks? Yeah. So, we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, all right, and then, so once those answers are provided, and we interview everybody, then we,
Vote.
well,
Vote
okay,
like that, yeah.
selection and vote.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
So then they would be available the February meeting probably, right? You would hope.
Yeah.
Okay,
As long as they go get sworn in. it should be available.
Okay.
well, they'll have 10 days.
What?
He or
10
she will have 10 days.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Anything else? Anything else left on our agenda? No.
Warren, you had mentioned that Judy is going to have a charrette weekend this spring. When will she be providing us with any kind of update as to the December mini focus group she had?
We won't get a specific update on that, but we will, she will be presenting to the Joint Planning and Board of Selectmen's meeting on the 28th.
Oh, she will?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Tool patient. Anyway. Anything else? Anything else you need? So why don't, do you want to talk to me about that conflict? Well, we have 2 minutes. So when is the meeting?
Let's see, Tuesday, the 15th is a Master Plan Implementation Committee meeting, and you had also requested that be the Littleton Affordable Housing Trust meeting. I'm happy to schedule that, well, there's like 7 meetings that night already, because Finance Committee and everybody are meeting. And,
So we should change that one at the very least, okay? Well, I'm not the chairman of that, so you need to talk to him.
Yep, I'll ask send out a scheduling question and
Let
get
them get
direction
back to
that
us,
way.
yeah. They want to meet on Tuesdays from now on, though, don't they?
Right, it's just some specific Tuesdays are worse than others.
Yeah, okay. That's this Tuesday coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might want to send it out sooner rather than later, since, actually, it's only 4 of us, though, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. Why don't you tell them what your schedule's like?
I hate to hold you guys up if you want to meet.
Yeah. Okay. Would make the clock go faster? It stands.
Read the notice really slow.
What about board member updates? Any other committees meet since we last met to talk about? Like,
We've gone to probably every meeting in town. You want to fill us in on any of that?
no, I've been sick.
Oh, you've been, the poor town, probably gone to hell in a handbasket.
But you have
I have not.
affordable housing,
That's it. That's it.
yeah?
Doing my only thing, yep, this and affordable housing.
What's going on there?
Nothing, we're exploring other, different options. We're looking at, the viability of some of the town-owned land and talking about proceeding ahead with maybe picking a developer and going that route or a couple other ways, but we're starting to make headway now that we know what we can and can't do, so it's baby steps. And we're gonna ask the CPC for our money, but at least we can control it, so.
Okay. And then, anything on that this housing summit in March? Do you know about that? No?
Yeah, that was, Cindy had suggested and was
Oh, yeah,
asked to
that's right,
schedule
yes.
a Affordable Housing Summit on
Yeah,
March
meeting,
12th.
yeah.
Okay.
at a joint
We're
meeting.
meeting the 11th, so it'll be like that Friday, right?
It's a Tuesday again.
And is that something that the planning board is going to?
She wants to do it through the senior housing trust thing. So,
It's one of those that, everybody will be invited to.
and whoever wants to take charge of it. I think maybe it should be the housing trust. So, anyway.
Well, master plan is meeting next Tuesday, I think. Next Tuesday, right, Maren?
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping to be able to review the roadmap, which has been the big piece of work that the consultant is finishing from all the work in the last 6 months, wrapping that up.
Cool. Anything else?
I was so worried about the agenda when I first put it together. I contacted every applicant saying, are you sure you want to be on it? Because we have 4 members.
Mhm. that's, like I said, that's gonna be the issue.
Oh, yeah.
So, the Littleton Common revitalization roadmap that Anna was talking about, we have,
We have color.
yeah. We have color, we have some graphics.
Are you gonna drink or what are you doing? No. All right, wait.
While we're waiting.
3 minutes?
3 minutes. Could you put up a picture of the next subject, the cricket lane? Do you have it? Are we gonna talk about the development?
We don't know if we are or not.
It's not open, we can't open it until 3 more
Can't
minutes.
put a picture up until 8:15.
And there's only 4 of us. The developer's gonna have to decide whether he wants to continue or
Okay.
postpone until next month when there'll be 5. So we don't know that yet, so we're really not into that yet.
I'm just trying to figure out north and south,
Oh,
and that, how it lays out.
all right, well, all right,
Okay,
so
that's
no.
good, thanks, man.
Why does north and south matter on a bicycle?
Because the way BPAC wrote the letter, I wasn't there when they wrote it. I don't really, not clear what they're talking about. They reference north and south on the road.
Right there.
Right there is the,
Yeah, there's the map, so north is this way.
Okay, thanks.
Due north. That clock's slow. Let me see what Verizon says it is. Verizon says it's 8:13.
no,
I guess it's right.
this isn't the opening definitive.
If we decide to, if they decide to.
See, all the hard work I have to do?
The Town of Littleton will be holding a public hearing on Thursday, January 10th, 2019, at 8:15 in room 103 of the Shattuck Street Town Offices, 37 Shattuck Street, to consider the application for definitive subdivision and senior residential development special permit pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, in the Code of the Town of Littleton zoning, senior residential development, Section 173-145, 173-152, and Aquifer and Water Resource District Special Permit, Section 173-61 through 173-64. Property location, Spectacle Pond at Cricket Lane, map R-23, parcel 4 and 4-A. Property owner and applicant is R.D. Kennard Homes Incorporated. The applicant is seeking a definitive subdivision and a special permit under the Senior Residential Development Bylaw and Aquifer and Water Resource District Bylaw to allow construction of 19 two-bedroom, age-targeted senior cottages and associated improvements on approximately 11 acres off Spectacle Pond Road, located near the intersection of Spectacle Pond Road and Cricket Lane, including affordable units under the inclusionary housing zoning bylaw. Applications and plans can be viewed at the planning board and the town clerk's office during their business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should appear at the time and place designated, or provide written comments before the close of the hearing. Anna Houston, clerk.
So, before we open, there's 4 members here. We want to know if you want to open, or do you want to wait another month when there'll be 5 members on this board. We're meeting with the selectmen on the 27th of January, 27th, right? 28th, 27th of January. 28th of January to appoint a 5th member to the board to take Jamie Cruz's place, and you'll have 5 members then. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to start now or you want to continue for a month.
We would like to start now.
Yeah, you know that the person is not going to be able to vote on it. You're only going to have 4 votes. If you wait a month, you'll have 5 people, so you'll need 4 out of 5 votes. If you start right now, you're going to need 4 out of 4 votes. My suggestion would be you wait till next month, so that everybody can hear it fresh. It's all there, right?
I think if you were to speak to council, you'd get the same advice.
Can we take 2 minutes and just talk that through for a second? Is that all right?
Please.
Sure.
Talk to- Sorry.
Did you read the email I sent to him?
What?
Did you read the email I sent to him asking the same question?
Well, I already made Roger aware of it. That's why I'm surprised they don't already have an answer. But you know what?
It's good to ask.
No, we have to ask. I want to just, you know.
Would you get a text message?
They did.
What, are they watching us on TV?
Yeah.
Who?
The view wasn't very deeply seated in the... So we've taken care of everything, huh? Right up to, all the board business is over, so after this,
This is it.
the only ones that are left next
We
is
did
field
send you
development is next?
to your father.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here. He's ill. But yeah, we will wait for the fifth member.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to continue close and,
No, not close it,
Not-
continue.
Continue the
Continue
public
public
hearing
hearing.
until February
7.
7th.
So the
By that
28th, we'll
time.
do the appointment, and February 7th is our next normal.
We'll have 5.
Okay.
It just makes a lot,
Yep.
it's a lot cleaner that way.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we didn't know this was gonna happen, and this is the first time we've ever had to appoint a member to the planning board, so.
I don't know about the first time.
It is the
Not
first,
ever, but
it's the first time anyone stepped off in the middle.
Since 1962, when you got
Since
on the board.
1962, when I was, yeah, that's how I got on, yeah. All right, so we'll continue it till then.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you.
All right.
You
Thanks.
didn't have to come, you could have, well, no, you, probably best that you did.
It's good that you did
So
it.
I didn't have to give away my Bruins tickets?
They're losing right now anyway.
Are they?
Okay, thank you.
great, thank you.
What's wrong with your father? Flu?
Yeah,
I think we did.
he's not feeling too good.
Really, or just didn't?
No, really.
A lot of people.
Yeah, he's not feeling well.
Hey, if you talk to him, tell him Walter's not doing good at all.
Okay.
Well, open and
Anyway,
immediately
okay,
continue.
thanks. Okay, I think that's it. We're all done, right? Yep.
No, we gotta continue.
8:30, you have to continue
Yeah.
King Street, but
Okay. Well, we don't have to wait till 8:30, we're gonna continue it anyway.
It's a public hearing, it's been published, we gotta wait till 8:30. So we can let everybody know
Yeah,
it's here.
we're continuing the rest of the thing, so you guys can all go home. Thank you.
Hey, Peter, you want to give me those notes back? Because, you know, they got my germs on them.
We gotta wait 10 more minutes to continue it.
not like it's my rules.
Does Matt know that? Isn't it?
Well, yeah, we're continuing, you know. You don't have to stay here. Yeah, thank you.
How many times, what? You? One? That one day?
I got one somewhere else, so,
Oh, did you?
10 point.
Oh, there you go.
How many did you get this year? 4? Are you allowed to get 4 of them?
Yeah. I could've got 7, I had 7 tags.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you just have to wait till 8:30 to continue it?
I don't know why we have to wait till then.
I'll have to read it to him.
I'm good with going down and continuing it.
Well, you don't have to stick around for us, we're gonna continue it.
We just have to follow the rules.
I don't know why we have to wait till 8:30. What?
We only need 3 people to continue, right?
Yes,
If we-
that's true.
And we're
Hey,
just
you
gonna
go home.
continue it. I know you're not feeling well, so.
Yeah, Rob's coming to get me now.
Okay.
Thanks.
You know, a little fresh air might be bad if you both start hoofing it back, get the fresh air, and maybe a little jogging, sweat it out.
Oh, yeah.
Might not be bad.
But thank you for the opportunity.
Maybe even go on the road once in a while, do a little dodging and weaving. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that Saturday night in Boston. It's probably what, made it worse.
Get away from me. I don't want to go, because if I get it, I'll have it for 3 months. Never goes away.
I was sick about a month ago, then got fine, and it hit the whole house again.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You want a score update before you leave?
Yes.
Salt in the wound?
Center ice, 12 rows back. That's what I had.
Well, you could've given it to me, and then the whole meeting would've been canceled. We could've gone together, eh? Still down 1-0. Capitals. They haven't beat the Capitals in 14 games.
That many?
Yeah.
That include playoffs?
Yes.
I think it does.
Yeah, it does. Good night.
Right.
Marge, I'll see you in the neighborhood.
Well,
I say we just.
Hi, Marge.
There you go.
What? Close and continue. All right,
second.
Close, just continue.
let's continue. Let's continue
Make a motion to continue the public hearing for
Jones Meadow. No, I mean, not Jones Meadow. for,
King Street. Give me the numbers, please.
80 to 94?
80 to 94 King Street.
To,
To February 7th. Time to be determined.
okay.
Amen.
All right, let's go home.
Make a motion to close the meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Shut us off. You going for a drink or you,